You're in a valley in Europe 40,000 years ago. It's past midnight. The sky is cloudy. No moon, no stars, nothing. It doesn't matter whether you open your eyes or close them. Both show the same thing. Nothing. But your ear picks up a sound, rhythmic, heavy. Maybe 10 steps away from you, something is breathing. You don't know what it is. You can't tell exactly how close it is. And right now, your brain is focused on a single task, running through every possible scenario, starting with the worst. This wasn't just a one-time moment that night. It was a test repeated every single night for hundreds of thousands of years, from Homo erectus to modern humans. Our night vision is worse than a cat's. Our sense of smell is much weaker than a wolf's. We have no claws, and our teeth aren't suited for tearing flesh. And yet, our species survived every night, without conquering the darkness, simply by enduring it. So how? When people say primitive humans were afraid of the dark, they usually imagine the same scene, a helpless figure huddled in a cave corner, trembling. No, wait, that image is completely wrong. The reality was the exact opposite, a nighttime system managed with organized, calculated, almost military discipline. There was fear, yes, but this fear wasn't passive. It had become a procedure. If the lion was dangerous by day, the hyena was dangerous by night. The cave hyena, crocuta, spelaea, was larger than its modern relatives and hunted at night in packs of up to 10-15 individuals. Its sense of smell was many times stronger than that of humans, and I won't skip over this part on purpose. In some cave systems in Europe, hyenas and humans had used the same shelter at different times. The same walls, the same floor, the same scent trails. Leopards operated with a similar strategy. Silent, nocturnal hunters. Masters of traps that left their prey hanging from trees. Now think about this. When you walk down a dark street today and hear footsteps behind you, you feel uneasy. Back then, those footsteps could very well have been something planning to eat you, and the only way to detect it was through your ears. But the night wasn't just a threat from the outside. The real issue was your own body. When historian Roger E. Kirch combed through diaries, court records, and letters from medieval and early modern Europe, he came across a strange pattern. People didn't sleep through the night in a single block. They would sleep through a period called the first sleep, stay awake for about an hour around midnight, and then transition to the second sleep. Some researchers interpret this pattern as a remnant dating back much further, to a time before fire and shelter. That period of wakefulness was, in fact, a moment of vigilance. But I have to be honest here. This is a controversial topic. A 2015 study examining modern hunter-gatherer communities such as the Hadza and the San found that these groups sleep through the night in relatively uninterrupted stretches, rather than in fragmented periods. So is segmented sleep a universal human trait, or merely a product of specific climates and cultures? This question remains unresolved. One thing is certain. You can't fall asleep when you're hungry. Shivering from the cold keeps you awake. And if you find yourself alone within your group, sleeping is no longer a luxury. It's a risk. They couldn't reduce this risk to zero. But they found something that significantly reduced it. In Israel's Kesem Cave, a hearth dating back approximately 300,000, 400,000 years was discovered. A trace of fire that had been rekindled repeatedly in the excavation layers, indicating nearly constant use. This was no coincidence. It was a maintenance system. When the fire went out, darkness returned, and with it, everything else. So the fire was someone's responsibility throughout the night. While one slept, another added wood. While one rested, another watched the flames. What was the result? Most predators had developed behaviors to avoid fire and smoke. An active fire served as a rotating alarm system throughout the night. Not perfect, but a deterrent that altered a cave hyena's answer to the question, is it worth taking the risk tonight? But simply lighting the fire wasn't enough, because someone had to stay awake. And this led to a solution far more interesting than anyone had anticipated. Some anthropologists suggest that older individuals may have played a special role during night watch. Why? Because as people age, their sleep naturally becomes lighter and shorter, both today and back then. If there was someone in the group who was too old to hunt but still experienced, someone who could still recognize sounds and distinguish between this howl is normal, this one isn't, that person was the group's most valuable asset at night. While the young and strong hunted during the day and rested at night, the experienced ones listened to the darkness. This isn't a guess. It's a theory suggesting that the survival of older individuals had a functional, not just emotional reason. As the group size increased, the risk per person during each watch decreased. For a single person, the night was an unsolvable equation. For a group of 10, it was a manageable shift. But where did the true power of the darkness lie? Out there or inside the mind? The brain cannot tolerate a void. When there is no clear image, it fills in the missing data with its own predictions. And these predictions always bet on the worst-case scenario for survival. There's a name for this: pareidolia. The shadow of a branch turns into a claw. A distant sound feels as if it's coming from much closer. This wasn't a weakness. On the contrary, it was a selected trait. Because someone who woke up once too often due to a false alarm lived much longer than someone who missed a real danger just once. Natural selection rewarded those who were a little paranoid. Today, when you feel a chill down your spine in a dark stairwell, you're actually facing not a pointless fear, but a 40,000-year-old survival strategy. That chill isn't a mistake, it's a legacy. And this is where the story takes a turn, because fire didn't remain merely a defense. It became a tool. People began using torches not only for protection, but also to herd animals in a specific direction and to settle deeper into cold climates, into latitudes where other predators couldn't survive, where the winter nights were longer and darker. So the night was once merely the enemy's playground. Then, by bringing a light source into that space, humans shifted the boundary to their own side. The darkness was still dangerous, but it was no longer one-sided. Now, on this night, pause for a moment as you extinguish your light and lie down in bed. You have no watch to keep, no fire to tend. You don't have to listen for something breathing 10 paces away, but perhaps you'll still feel that familiar shiver that's triggered for a moment in a dark room. That moment doesn't belong to you. It's a legacy passed down to you from someone who, 40,000 years ago in a valley, waited for morning simply by listening to the sound of a breath. They survived that night. That's why you're here, too.